GREGER Erickson, photographer extraordinaire.
I would hope so.
But that barely even begins to express all that you do.
Yes.
It's not just hitting a button, nor is it in just one genre.
No.
Because there is commercial photography and there is fine art photography. I think there's certainly a line there, but
Absolutely.
You are in both worlds.
I started photography when I was 14 years old out on the West Coast, and graduated to doing freelance work. And even then it was hard, because that's, in my late teens and early 20s, that was when you took film and you had to be precise in the way that you dealt with a photograph. Today, the digital world is a little different.
Oh, yeah.
And it's made life easier for photographers, a little bit more difficult for professional photographers.
Now, how so? That's interesting, because I would think, wow, it's everything's easy. Now, is it because everybody else is now rising?
Yeah, I think that's what's happening. The quality of the equipment has accelerated to a point where it's easy for someone to get a minimally good camera and tell everyone they're a professional. I have invited people to take a journey through my vision of light and color. That, I think, is the most important thing that any photographer can do. And I like fine art photography. I do a lot of landscape, which I'm pretty much noted for. I've done fashion and glamour. I've done commercial work. Coming up this Saturday, I'm going to be doing a shoot on a crane, putting up a big chiller on top of a roof in downtown Pittsburgh. So
glamorous.
Really glamorous. You still have to have the eye. You still have to have that given talent.
Now, I have to think that in this day and age, with what we're seeing in technology, it is that truly is going to separate the professionals from the amateurs.
I've taken photographs and processed them in a program, a Photoshop program, to blend layers of photographs together to create an image that may not be real, but the thing is, it's real to me, and it's art for art's sake. And I think anybody who is truly an artist understands that art lies here and here.
Yeah.
And not necessarily just on a canvas or on a print. And I, at one time, I guess, would be considered a purist. Weston and Ansel Adams, they've always been my heroes.
Purist, what would be the opposite of purist as far as photography goes?
Experimentalist.
So what would an example of an experimentalist photo?
It might be a photograph that has been altered, or parts of other photographs put in with it, blended to it, to create a piece of art.
So you say you used to be a purist. What changed you? What did you harden? Did you get radical? What happened?
It's the digital age.
So you were given more tools.
Yeah,
and that's what you feel brought you out of that.
And I think not only tools but latitude, because it's accepted now that you can work with a medium like photography and use programs to enhance your photography without going so far out there that people say, well, that really doesn't depict what I want. But again, art is in the eye of the beholder. And if people go to my website, they will see some real purist views, and then they might also see some things that are kind of out of the box. And some of the work that I do with the film industry itself is I do headshots for actors and actresses. In fact, I've got a couple that I'm hopefully going to be scheduling here in the next few weeks. And then there's always the job opportunities that come up as a still photographer for film. Now, I've done 2 short films.
Let's talk again about artistic versus commercial.
Okay.
Because from what you have said, it seems like that a lot of artists do, cross that border into both. And I know clearly what the difference is between the two. Art is art and commercial is for maybe a sales or promotional purpose.
Or advertising.
Right, but I have to guess that there are a lot of qualities from the point of view of the photographer that cross over between the two? Or are you approaching each one of those genres with a completely different technique?
Wow, that's a great question. And I think for the most part, you use all of the basics are pretty much the same. It's how you approach the subject that's a little bit.
Now, what I have always felt is unfair for photographers is that an artist that, let's say, uses paint and canvas has 100% control.
Yes, they do.
Over everything that's happening there.
Yeah.
As a photographer, especially outside of a studio, there's a lot that is not under your control. You probably maybe only sometimes have 50% control, or not even.
Right.
Because you're capturing whatever's happening in front of you. So how much of this is planning? How much of it is chance
and luck?
Right.
I'll relate a story to you that I was shooting up at Mount Washington a year ago in 4th of July. Great fireworks. I was up there. I had all set up with my tripod and my camera, and clouds started building up over this. All of a sudden, it started to thunder, and fireworks started, and all of a sudden, I'm shooting away, and these are long exposures. These are 5-second exposures, And all of a sudden, lightning strike, and I looked at the guy next to me, and I said, "Hey, did you get that?" Because he was from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and he says, "I don't know. Let me check." He says, "No, I didn't get it." I looked at mine, I'd got it. And it's a fabulous photograph of the city with the fireworks, and then all of a sudden the lightning strike looks like it's hitting the city.
Wow.
So, blind luck? Yeah. That's some of the lack of control that you...
At an event like that, 4th of July on Mount Washington, is that like photographer haven?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's up there
Oh,
in
yeah,
cluster. Do you see the same people a lot of times?
Yeah, actually, I did see a photograph that was posted in a magazine that had won an award. And it was the same shot that I got.
Because you were probably 3 feet from the guy that took it.
I was probably... Wow. You could have hit a rock. You could have thrown a rock and hit 50 of us.
So then what was the difference between his photo and yours winning that award, maybe except for the fact that he entered it into this contest?
He submitted it.
All right, well, submit more stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my just layman's advice.
I do have one that was, I do have a photograph that I took in Utah, which was, that I submitted, was selected by Smithsonian Magazine. So
now that's no small deal.
No,
Smithsonian's
that's big. 55,000 entries, and they chose 300.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
was very humbled by that.
So what do you feel in this field of yours, and throughout the span of your career, has been your greatest success or greatest achievement?
Man. Well, I quit photography, and I didn't quit photography. I turned my vocation into an avocation back in the early 70s when it was very difficult to find work. And I was as a young guy, I was asked by AP to go to Vietnam as a combat photographer, and my dad talked me out of it. And because I'm an only child, he said if something would happen, you'd kill your mother. So I said, well, okay. And then after that, you get married, you have kids. I had to get a real job. Went back to school, ended up getting my education and worked for a while. Kept photography as an avocation, and then up until about 5 years ago, I decided I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to get back into it, because that's my passion. I mean, I love photography. I love everything about it. I've been doing photography since I was 14 years old, and that was like years ago.
We won't tell. We won't run that sound.
Don't set down. Yeah. I maybe have 30 photographs on my phone, and most of those are pictures of things that I need to buy. You were looking at maybe a camera that had an average size sensor with 6 megapixels, and now
that's low, right?
And that's
okay. You gotta
and now you're looking.
Michael Keaton's got spinach stuck in his teeth.
Yeah,
nobody noticed.
Believe me, I would tell him.
or would you just edit it out?
Well, you can Photoshop it out, but I
Right.
would tell him, "This is Mike. You're." I drove by and at 75 miles an hour on I-80 or I-84 going into Portland, Oregon.
Is that a legal speed?
That was
sir?
a legal speed.
Okay, we can publish this.
Yeah. He shoots bikinis and lingerie and
Poor guy.
models.